Given how critical anonymization of data sets are to GEMS, we have several tools, as you noticed, to do all sorts of anonymization tasks. The one we're going to cover now is geospatial aggregation. What this allows you to do, unlike some of the other tools, is you don't need to know what the county or state or country boundary. Instead, GEMS knows that for you, and what you have to provide is just your lat-long coordinates and your individual lines of data items, and we can aggregate things up for you. Note that this tool only works currently for the U.S. That will change in the future, but at the moment we just have the U.S. administrative district boundaries in there. First, we'll choose our data set. Here's a U.S.-only data set from the Genomes to Fields project. Then we'll choose the tool. Then we will page down. In the screen that appears next, it's important that you choose the level at which to aggregate. Here you would basically have three choices: at the country level, at the state level, or all the way down to the county level. For the purposes of this demo, I will simply choose the state. That's going to give us a good number of lines to fill the screen. What you have here, this is the metadata for all of the information from the Genomes to Fields project for 2015, and you have a bit of information for each line from all the different things from each experiment. It's important here that you have a latitude and a longitude, but you also have a lot of other columns. So notice that the lat here is before the long. So we're going to go ahead and take those lines, and we need a coordinate field. We need to designate which is the latitude that we're going to aggregate on, which is the longitude, again, that we're going to use. Now you have to choose some of your quantitative fields, and how are you going to aggregate those? So I could go through all sorts of quantitative fields in this file and start doing sums and averages and means, but for this tutorial, just going to choose this one here because it's the closest one. We're going to choose the mean value for this field. When you hit aggregate, all of those fields should be aggregated up at the state level, because that's what I chose. You can see there are 16 plus 1, because it starts with 0 states that were represented in 2015. And here is the mean value for that particular field. And any other fields you would have selected would have also appeared along this axis. Again, one thing to notice is that we show you how many rows were aggregated up to make that, in this case, average. It's important to know those number of rows, because if these have been individual entries from farmer households and there were only 2 of them in that entire state, that would have been problematic for the purposes of privacy. You want to make sure that you maintain farmer privacy. And so you should follow whatever convention that your organization uses. 5 or more households is typically used, sometimes 10 or more. It just depends on the stringency that people use. You want to take your data set, and you can save that data. You'll be asked to fill out a name, my data, and aggregated. And then you could hit OK. Save that file.